one thing that is causing people to leave.
I think, like you said, the mass exodus came after the outbreak of COVID-19. So many people, I mean, we've all, for any conscious black person, I guess the aim has always been Africa. But more people were geared towards West Africa, you know, Ghana, few to Gambia, etc., etc. So a lot of people have been researching for 2, 3, 4, 5 years about relocating back to Ghana. And when the corona thing came, that was kind of like the last kick. And they took that same research that they did about Ghana, and many people made the assumption it was the same thing here. So like you said, there was a mass influx. You know, we've been here a little while. There was years, I tell people all the time, there was years if I ever saw a black British person or a black American person, it was a very unique experience. And you'd be like, yo, what's up? You know, we have to talk, because you just be meeting a lot of white people and never any black people from the diaspora. But now you can't go to a cafe or KFC or Pizza Hut or any bar without seeing a whole group of African Americans and black British, which is an amazing thing.
Right.
But I feel like people didn't do their research about what Tanzania is, you know. I tell people all the time here, but I guess it's like this all over the world. It's pay to play. Like, nothing's free here, you know. So I don't know why some people don't realize that. It's the same all over the world. I think a misconception a lot of people have, and this is my humble opinion, by the way, is that we are coming home. Historically, this is our home, this is a motherland, and we are children of this continent. You know, I don't feel powerful more anywhere than when I'm on this continent.
Right.
But we are still foreigners. And a lot of African Americans, I feel, in my opinion, as I say, and black British and black Europeans, get disappointed because the local Tanzanian population still perceive us as foreign.
I'm a type of person, I lead with trust. Most people, you have to earn that trust, but I lead with it. I lead with trust. I have no reason not to trust you if I don't have a reason not to trust you. Anyway.
And for everyone else, trust is earned, right?
Right.
You got to earn my trust, or I'm observing you from far.
Right. Got to a point, though, that based on what we experienced, then I became very, very, very untrusting, if that's a word. Extremely, extremely. So my experience became more of an experience of prejudice and discrimination. I know you're probably like, how? And it's like I went from one experience of prejudice and discrimination to another. The difference is it wasn't based on color, it's more based on culture.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, there is a problem in Africa right now. So many diaspora, African Americans, Jamaicans, Caribbeans, and all those in the UK were coming back home. Now, they have been forced to leave Africa on their arrival, and you wonder what is really not happening. Now, there is a problem, and this is the time we should talk about the problem. Why are African Americans, why are the Jamaicans, Caribbeans trying to run away from home, from Africa, back to the US? So let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Good morning, YouTube. I tried so hard to stay here in Africa, but I really think my time is up now. I had enough. I cannot afford to live here. I feel broke and I feel poor in Africa. I feel like I'm going to be out there selling some shit soon, because this ain't making no sense to me. I pay $130 a day to drive around in a truck. I pay $100 a day to live in a 2-bedroom and there's 6 of us with no hot water, no stove, no refrigerator. The refrigerator broke. Then on top of that, I got lizards crawling in the bed with me. I live in America in a mansion, and we don't have to put no water on the stove. We got steady hot water, steady electricity, and the only time our electricity get cut off is when we don't pay the bill. And we got it so good now, we got prepaid electricity, so if we forget to pay the bill, we put some money on that prepaid thing, and it comes right back on in 2 minutes. In less than 2 minutes. This shit right here didn't come on for 14 hours yesterday. I can't deal. I love the people. Don't get me wrong. When I'm outside, I'm having fun. I love the people. But when I come back to reality, when you come back home, home is where the heart is, right? When you come back home, you're supposed to feel comfortable. You're supposed to be happy. I'm not happy. Every house I look for, the house is expensive as hell. Oh my God. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1 million to live in a house where you look outside and all you see is turkeys and ducks and chickens and sheeps and old malnourished cows. I didn't even pay that much for my house in America. And everybody I talk to is saying the same thing. Oh, this house is $500,000. Oh, this house is $200,000. This house is $300,000. I'm like, I can't afford to live here. I cannot. I paid $100,000 for my house and a good ass community. But y'all, I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit fraud, the bullshit scams, the bullshit too expensive, the bullshit not having no snacks, the bullshit not having no food, the bullshit electricity, the bullshit hot water, the bullshit what's that shit called that be coming down? The bullshit animals. It's scorpions outside the house. It's big ass spiders. It's big ass lizards. Colorful lizards you ain't never seen before. All in the fucking room with you, sleeping with you. All the bullshit people trying to scam you when you go outside thinking you rich. So they trying to get more money off of you. I'm really trying to wrap my head around this shit. I'm really trying to wrap my head around how are Americans coming to Africa and being happy. Please comment down below. Because for me, I'm ready to go. And I always used to say, if it's up to me, it will be. And I'm going to go out to Africa and make shit happen. No, I don't want to. I want to take my businesses back to America. I want to open up shop back in America, open up my dentist office and all the stuff that I was going to do out here in America. Because I was basically telling everybody what they will experience when they come to the motherland. So for the people who need to study or research, or for the people who looking to find some people abroad that they need to ask questions and talk to about what they need to do when they get here, we basically telling them, and we keeping it raw and unfiltered, uncut. So you have everybody talking about, oh, the motherland is beautiful. It is a beautiful place, but you gotta know reality when you get here. Reality has to set in. So I'm basically telling them, look, when you come here, don't think it's gonna be a parade for you, because it's not. Don't think that it's going to be snacks and it's going to be the same thing in America, because it's not. That electricity that you used to being on all day, it's not going to be none of that. I already knew that the electricity gets cut off all the time. I see the Bag family. I seen R. Kathy. I seen all of them experiencing electrical outages. I already had set forth and looked up some places where when I get here, I can buy solar panels for my house, because I knew the electricity wasn't going to be good. I already knew all this stuff. I was just telling people because it's people out here that don't know. And so you need to know. So I'm telling you, get ready, because it's going to get rough. It's not easy. And yes, I am in Accra, and I knew that Accra was the most expensive place, and I knew it was the most developed as well. I wanted to be in a developed place. But at the end of the day, don't shit me. I always used to say, get me, don't shit me. Don't have me come all the way out here, and because you see I'm American, which you don't even know that I'm a Ghanaian too, but okay, I'm going to give you that I'm American because of my accent. So don't have me come all the way to Africa and say a house is $400,000, but you tell me it's $700,000 because you feel as though I'm rich. Everybody I've ever talked to looked at me like I was dollar signs. As soon as they see me, it's money, money, money. I can tell you 15 stories right now since we've been in Africa where people try to overcharge us and overprice us, and I'm on their ass. So for the people who say, oh, she's over there getting scammed, I didn't get scammed not one time. I told y'all the experiences how they tried to scam me. They tried to scam me, and I was in they deep in their ass. And so for the people who say, oh, Africa is not weak, it's not for weak people. Let me tell you something. All Africans are weak. I got a fucking African father who weak as fuck. I know all Africans are weak. They aren't built like us. in America. So I'm all in their ass when they try to take their weak asses and try to use me or try to bribe me or try to get extra money out of me. You gotta wake up pretty early in the morning to pull one on me, because I already see the shit coming. Then the other thing, people saying, oh, she didn't do no research and she hasn't built a network. All I do is build networks. I'm on all the groups that's on Facebook, that's on WhatsApp, all that. I've been there, done that, years, all that. I don't trust people. Because first of all, everybody has an agenda. They can act like they're going to be good for you. They're going to show you and teach you the ropes and show you the way. People will come out here from the diaspora and say, oh, I'm going to buy me a house, and then I'm going to rent it out to all the people that come from the diaspora so they can have somewhere to stay when they get here. I didn't come here to rent. So let's clear that up too, because that was another situation that I came to rent. I didn't come to rent. I don't rent at home, so why would I rent here in Africa? But I want to live better in Africa than I do at home, of course. So of course I came out here to buy beach land, to build a house, and while I'm building the house, buy another house to live in while I build my house, because I'll be damned if I'm gonna be sitting in somebody's living room. If I'm gonna have 5 kids, we have 5 children, but we only have 4 of us, four children with us, and it's 2 of us, so it's 6 of us all right now. And my oldest son, when he come out the military, he will be here too. I'll be damned if we're gonna be laying on somebody's couch from the diaspora talking about oh, I'm gonna give you somewhere to stay until you find your room. No. And I did not rent a room for $100. I rent an Airbnb for $100 a night. Airbnbs, if you want a nice one, it's going for $100 a night. The Airbnb was nice, but at the same time, it had its issues. And I was just sharing the issues that it had. Then secondly, as far as me renting a car or whatever, how else am I getting around? Every little car is that small. It's little buzz. All of us, 6 of us, cannot get in little bugs and ride around. So I
just for you, because it's something that happens, and if you had done your research, you will know. Now, for a lot of them said that, oh, creators lied to them, creators told them that Africa is this, and I keep saying this, Africa is a continent, and every country has its own. Someone in South Africa will have a totally different experience from someone in Nigeria. So, example, South Africa is more developed than Nigeria. So you can go to South Africa and someone in South Africa is saying, oh my God, I moved to Africa, it's so...
One day I had a conversation with one of my African partners, right? And he told me, you know why African people look down on black people? I said, why? He said, because y'all are ignorant. Y'all don't know who y'all really are. Y'all go by false labels. Y'all think y'all are African, but y'all don't know what Africa looks like. You letting them compare you to us when we're not the same. We're from 2 different areas. So that made me think we're from 2 different areas. Then I did my research. 94 to 96% of all slaves from Africa were sent to South America or the Caribbean. So you telling me all these black folks is African in the States? But only around 4 to 8% actually came here from Africa? I'm going to end it there.
I left Tanzania. Okay, so the number one reason why I left Tanzania is because I was getting scammed numerous times. Was I scammed? So I left Tanzania and I've been back in the US for almost 2 months. And for me, it was the best decision that I could have ever made for my future and for my son's future. I was on Facebook and I saw that someone posted a picture of them holding up 500 T-shillings. It seemed like they were trying to say that's how much you would have to pay. You would only have to pay 500 T-shillings to fill up your car, which is, I think they said, less than 50 cents. The situation for me this time was a visa issue. And I'll go into that in another video. I just feel like it's so much to tell and I need to give the details of that. However, that situation was rectified for me, but at the last minute after I decided that I was leaving to go home. And there is, someone there in Tanzania that I believe would be great for diasporans to, to help them make sure that they get their visas and all the paperwork that they need, and to just, not get scammed, and someone that's trustworthy. As far as I am concerned, I did what was right for me and what was best for me. It didn't matter what anyone had to say to me.
The first thing that I didn't like is the immigration process. When I went to Tanzania, I already imprinted it in my brain that you're allowed to, from the research that I've done, that you're allowed to have 3 months there and then get extensions, which is a 30-day extension. It's supposed to be 2 30-day extensions for free. But once I got to the immigration, they had us wait there for 5 hours after telling us they could give us that time period, and we only got 2 weeks. After waiting 5 hours, we got a 2-week extension. So I had to maneuver myself from there, and it was just not pretty for me. I left the immigration office like literally in tears, because I was just like, it's just this, I pick up on vibrations and energy, and it's just like the immigration people just felt like they don't want me here. You know, for whatever reason, whatever judgment they had of me, I don't think they want us as expats there. You know, and that's just the honest truth, you guys. Like, they were laughing at me while I was crying. Like, it was just not funny. Maybe it was just the immigration officers that I dealt with, but it was just like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was like one of the first negative experiences for me there. But yeah, I thought I could, stay there a little bit longer just to feel it out. Now, let me tell you guys, I never, ever, ever had I had no expectations with coming to Africa. Like I told you guys, I had plans to move to Ghana. They changed their rules. I don't like how their president moves. So I decided to come over to go to Tanzania. The immigration, like to have to leave every 3 months. I know this before going to Tanzania because it's everywhere. It's listed everywhere. But what I didn't take into was the expense that it would be to travel from country to country. I thought maybe it would be a little bit cheaper, but clearly it wasn't. I just never fit in, and I've been me all my life. This is me, and I'm always changing and growing, but who I am at the core, I can't change. So if I can't vibe with the culture and I feel judged by the culture half the time, it's just not going to work long term for me. So that's one of the bigger reasons why I left too. Most of the expats were couples or males. So I met a guy, he was there from Europe. He had a business in Europe, but he lived in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Come to find out, like, he was like bragging about how, he can get certain favors from a girl in the community for little to nothing. And I don't need sexual favors, but he was just bragging. And that's what he kind of like hinted at, but I didn't want to assume. But, I think guys sometimes come to exploit white and black guys come there to exploit the community if, they know like they can get a lot for little to nothing, from whether it's company, sex, whatever, like they know this. So they go there to sometimes exploit. So being that I met some cool expats that were males too. That right there was like a big, I don't fit, but I want to connect with like-minded people, and I also want to connect with the African culture and the African people, but because there was that language barrier, I couldn't connect with any of the Tanzanian people, and I'm sure that stopped me from meeting a bunch of good people, but I couldn't connect. So this was like a thing for me that I was just like, dang, like it sucks. This is a bummer. It took a lot of effort coming to Africa, but I was just like, I just don't see myself happy here. I'm not happy. So I didn't know, like in my mind, I'm like, once I didn't feel welcome, I'm like...
2019 marked the year of return and 400 years since the arrival of the first slaves to the U.S. This coincided with the call for African Americans to return to their homelands. And since then, thousands of Black Americans have in fact been paying heed to the call and making the move to Africa. Most of the diaspora have been moving to Ghana. But many others have also moved to places like Senegal, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Rwanda, and South Africa. The reasons for leaving the U.S. transcend an ancestral calling. For many, it's the fractured race relations and an existential trauma that exists in the African American psyche since slavery. This all came to a boiling point after the murder of George Floyd in 2020. For many, it was a wake-up call that America wasn't really where they belong, and so they packed their bags in search of more welcoming lands. For many, their new home in Africa was blissful, A warmer climate, a lower cost of living, better quality food, and a sense of belonging, without the day-to-day challenges of both subtle and more overt racism that confronted them in America. However, not everybody had the soft landing they were hoping for. In this video, we'll look at why some African Americans end up returning to the US after making the move to Africa. We've found that there are 4 main reasons. Keep watching until the end, as reason number 4 will surprise you. First up, no jobs. Many African Americans hold the misconception that when they arrive in whichever African country they move to that they'll be able to easily get a job. This simply isn't the case. Unlike the US, jobs in most African countries are scarce, with unemployment rates sometimes being as high as 50%. Western world conveniences. A lot of the diaspora often fail to recognize how cushy their lifestyles are in the West. Only when arriving in Africa do they realize what they've taken for granted. Simple examples include basic road infrastructure with sidewalks. A lot of African countries may have tarred roads, but often don't have sidewalks. This means that walking from A to B often isn't an option. So you find yourself driving or taking taxis everywhere. Another example is online shopping. In the US, one can buy an item on Amazon using one-click checkout and it'll be with you later that day. E-commerce may well exist in Africa, but getting an item delivered to you may not be possible. This is because many parts of Africa don't have traditional addresses. The houses don't have names or numbers, and street names often don't exist. As a result, people often have to revert to providing landmark references, such as the yellow house opposite the post office next to the park.
I wanted to make one point also. It's like, and that's getting back to food or things you purchase. I'm noticing this is what I did in the States. When I got, like, we drink almond milk or certain dairy.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, I've been at the forefront of actually talking about the coming back of the children of Africa who are in the diaspora. Now, I've been talking this for a while right now. And it seems this has been having some impact, because as we talk right now, like I have like 100 or so African Americans who are talking about coming back to Africa, and the American blacks, the FBS, those foundational Black Americans, those who were born and raised in the US and whose parents were also born and raised in the US. Now, this has actually gotten, it has had some impacts to so many people, in that they have been talking about coming back home. But there is a problem, and we should admit it. Now, brothers and sisters, coming to Africa is a whole new journey, and it's like starting life from scratch, because many of those African Americans, let me just say 90% of them, they have never been to Africa before. So when they're coming to this land, they are very new here, and they want to associate with the people, and they're starting from scratch. And sometimes this comes with so many challenges, and some of the challenges is maybe lacking trust with the locals, maybe doubting everything. And this actually has caused problems to the Black Americans, and it has caused problems to the to the locals who live in Africa. Now, I'm talking about this because it is a trending topic, and we should actually admit that it is happening, that Black Americans are now leaving Africa after arriving, and the Caribbeans also who came to Africa, and the whole diaspora, some of them are not very happy. It is not whatever they expected in the first place. Let me now break this one down. Now, brothers and sisters, when coming to Africa, you've had a lot of stories that Africa is a jungle, that everything in Africa is bad, that corruption is in Africa, that people are dying in Africa because of lack of nutrients. I mean, they are dying out of malnutrition, and so many other stories. Some of them might be true, and some of them are not actually true. There are stories that are made up to scare you coming back to your motherland. But there is another problem, brothers and sisters. And let's admit this. I first want to talk about the character of the locals. Now, some locals in Africa do not really understand how life is very unbearable in the US and how much our brothers and sisters are struggling just to survive. They are not living, but they are surviving in the US. Now, from social injustices to high taxes, now paying mortgages and all this other stuff. Now, some of them do not even have some good jobs to do. They are struggling from one shift to another just to make ends meet. Then they save their whole life hoping to come and start a life in Africa, where their motherland is, where they won't be discriminated just because of their color, where they'll be reconnected to their culture, they'll be reconnected with their brothers and sisters and have a happy life. But this has not ended up well when they land in Africa. They have landed in the hands of scammers. They have landed in the hands of those who extortion. They extortion them thinking that they are billionaires and millionaires of this world. Now, there is a mentality that is in Africa. There is a stereotype that has been built by the locals that anyone who comes from Europe, anyone who comes from America, be it South America, be it North America, be it any part that is called America, including the US, they are super rich and they should share their money with the locals. Now, there is really a big problem, and I want to advise my brothers and sisters from the diaspora, the Black Americans, the diaspora from any part of this world. When coming to Africa, you must also be careful. I mean, there are those that have. I do not want to abuse anyone, but it is to have low IQ, because when you're going to extort your friend or your brother, that really means you have no morals. But there are those who have no morals in Africa. They'll extort you, they'll hike up the prices so that you pay high amount. And this one, I'll blame it on the African American brothers and the diaspora who come to Africa. Most of them, after landing in Africa, they start acting, some of them, I mean, a smaller number of them, they start acting like they are on their own class and that the locals here do not matter. And that's the biggest mistake you can do when coming to Africa, that you land in Africa. Now, you start talking about how Africa is poor and how much the life is expensive in the US, and you have to pay you buy things at a cost, at a high cost and all that stuff. When you start talking about that, the people here will start thinking that you have money. What will they do? A candy that goes for maybe maybe 0 point something dollars, let's say a candy that goes for 30 cents will be sold at you at $3, So when you came to Africa and when you land in the motherland, you must start interacting with the locals. Be friendly and make sure you are linked to a person who is good in Africa, a person who has gone to school and they have their morals, those who understand how life is difficult in the US, so that when you come to Africa, he will be or she will be taking you around, showing you things and all that until you adapt here, until you are used to the exchange rates in Africa, until you know the prices of products, the prices of goods. If that's not the case, if you cannot be linked to anyone in Africa, I'll advise you to be using apps. Yes, when going somewhere and you don't have a car, use a Bolt app or those apps that are very reliable and very accurate. And when you want to buy something to eat, use the food stores. They're called supermarkets and all that. That's the only way you're going to save yourself. Most Black Americans and the diaspora, Caribbeans, Jamaicans, are leaving Africa just because that's not whatever they expected. Maybe some of them came with an attitude, and the locals didn't take it lightly. The locals extorted them. The locals hiked the prices and all that stuff. Now, there is need when you come to Africa, and do not despise the food they eat in Africa. Do not despise where they live in Africa. Do not despise the clothes they wear in Africa. Do not despise their culture. That's very important. I know, to all those who have worked, maybe doing field works or traveling, you know that when you go somewhere, try as much as you can not to show them that you are despising their things, and that maybe you're trying to tell them how they're illiterate, you're trying to tell them that how they're backward and all that. That won't help. It will only result to you being rejected by the same people that were to host you. Africa is a big continent, very big continent with so many people, billions, a billion, 1.3 billion or so. So when you come to the continent of Africa, there is need for you to be so careful on how you're talking to the locals, how you're going to handle the locals. There is different culture, and maybe it is not the culture that you're used in the US, because most Black Americans have adapted to the US culture. The US culture is no one's culture. It is a mixture of culture. So literally, some of them say they have no culture, but I believe that they have a culture, because when Black Americans discipline their kids to grow with respect, that's an African culture, that you don't just let a kid talk to you anyhow. And when you come to Africa, you're going to find different cultures. But I do say the Black man's culture is almost the same everywhere. Respect for the elders and all that stuff. It's almost like same everywhere. So when you come to Africa, do not be shocked that you will small children respect the elderly and those who are beyond their age. And this is whatever actually makes sense, a lot more sense in Africa. So when you come to Africa, do not despise whatever Africans do. Do not try to look down on their culture, their food, and all that stuff. Or maybe they are living in a house without a toilet or something of the sort, without a shower, that they're bathing outside. That's African, you know. Some things might not be the same way they are in the US. So when you come to Africa, try to be African as much as you can, and you're going to survive. The locals will be happy with you. They'll even protect you. You won't need the government's protection. The locals will protect you. They'll make sure no one harms you, no one extorts from you, and no one actually hikes the prices for you, because they will see you as one of their own. So it is both a problem here in Africa with the locals, and a problem with the African American, the diaspora, and the whole African diaspora who are trying to come back home. It is time we should accept that Africa is our home, and it is time for the locals here in Africa. If you're watching this video, these are our brothers and sisters. Treat them as you could have treated your sister, as you could have treated your brother or your mother or your father or your grandparents. Respect, respect, respect. Adios. See you.